Alright everyone, I frequently criticize Legacymedia, but some people still haven't gotten the hint, even in the wake of Tucker Carlson being fired there, that Fox News is exactly the same as the other corporate press networks, so like MSNBC, CNN, etc. NPR definitely joining that club in a big way over the last few days with Yuri Berliner there. Here's how I know, and I have known, and I warn people of this, and a lot of people never believe me, and I probably should have brought up this issue for all of the new subscribers that came later, because I could have given them a personal example of how I know that Fox News is core legacy media. Do you remember the 2012 election? A lot of you don't, and most of you weren't subscribed to me at the time. Most of you come post-2016, basically. In 2012, there were a series of debates within the Republican Party, and Ron Paul knocked it out of the park pretty much every time. He should have been the nominee, and by the way, probably would have won, and that's what they were afraid of. He unsuccessfully did what Trump later successfully did. He was attempting to reform the GOP in a much more positive direction. Hey, maybe we can not be the party of limitless war. Maybe we can be the party of actually lowering taxes instead of just saying we want to lower taxes and then saying, well, our idea of how to do that is to throw a bunch of money at corporations. Maybe we should stop being dumb and actually accomplish something. And you get elected more when you actually accomplish something for the bulk of the population that they like giving them tax relief, deregulation that makes the economy roar ahead, and so forth. I think Ron Paul would have done a great job. He's the best president we never had. Over and over again, it was quite clear, bias aside, he was simply a better public speaker than the other people on stage. He was simply more likable than the other people on stage, although he could be sort of like maybe the grumpy grandpa at times. He'd get a little bit like a right-wing Bernie Sanders in that capacity. He was likable, intelligent, and also one of the main concerns at the time is that all these wars are popping off, and Ron Paul's the only one that says, hey, why don't we put the genie back in the bottle and stop? Mitt Romney, meanwhile, who ended up nominee, he's like, well, no, I think we need to double Guantanamo. Now, that line, by the way, went over really well. Horses and bayonets. Some of you weren't there or you weren't old enough at the time. Horses and bayonets, killing Big Bird, all of these other memes, binders full of women. Mitt Romney was a joke of a candidate. Towards the end, in the last couple of months of the election, he barely appeared in public. He was barely campaigning. Karl Rove didn't get the message about why that was. He knew he would lose at that point, and still predicted he would win. And then when Ohio went for Obama, then he stormed off stage. Actually, he went backstage on Fox News, ironically enough, and then raised hell and was berating the people there. And they looked very nervous. Here's how I know, though, that Fox is legacy media. Ron Paul was clearly the people's choice for candidate. He was clearly the most intelligent. He was clearly the most forthright and honest, clearly the most likable. There were polls on Fox News after each one of the debates. Who do you think won the debate? And I was on 4chan regularly at the time. This is back when B was the political encapsulate on that site, by the way. Now they've got politically incorrect, and B has devolved into nothing more than BBC and porn, basically. And Andy Six's logs. It's the only redeeming feature of the fucking page is some people talk about eating poop. Sorry. There were a series of polls, and time again, we were rigging these polls. I took an active role in making threads at the time as well for Ron Paul. Hey, here's the Fox News poll. Here's the link. Go and vote for Ron Paul. He repeatedly won in the digital results, but they would come back from commercial break, and I would be watching live. And they would announce, Mitt Romney has won this poll. They would completely ignore the updated numbers. Effectively, they would cut off the poll and immediately put it into their system while Mitt Romney was still leading. Completely ignoring the actual results because they wouldn't get back from commercial break for another 5 minutes or something. In that interim period, Ron Paul clearly wins the poll because, it's being rigged, but Fox is too fucking stupid to know that. So the presentation that they gave to Soccer Mom America, if you weren't on the internet mainly at the time, you thought that Mitt Romney was generally agreed upon to have done a great job. Mitt Romney with 45%, he wins easily over his the next person in line, Ron Paul with 30 or something like that. They'd usually cut it off earlier than that to try to give Mitt even more of a boost. They never actually told the public the real results of those polls. I know, because I was watching them live. I was physically there. I was literally interacting with this material. I wasn't gaming anything, by the way. I would vote once. The only thing I did was share out the link. Several of the times I think I was the first one to actually post the link when the poll went live. I was happy about that. Yeah, it's a little bit riggy. Yeah, it's not necessarily a random sampling of the population, but then neither is the Fox News live viewing audience now, is it? You're only getting a sampling of people who happen to know that foxnews.com exists and they understand that the poll's actually active at the time. For a few minutes before they read out the results, they would totally cut it off. I would think you'd put out the poll and you'd go for another segment and then you'd come back from the second break and that would be more accurate, right? You get a larger sample size. They never did that. They totally attempted to shaft Ron Paul. They got their marching orders from the RNC, which is run by the Uniparty, and that's what happened. So I had a personal experience over a decade ago showing me that they're just as disingenuous as MSNBC or CNN or any of these other groups. Probably should have mentioned that, by the way, to people who are newer to the channel. When I said that Fox News couldn't be trusted, it wasn't just because I didn't have to wait for Tucker Carlson to get fired. I didn't have to wait for them to throw their journos under the bus or anything like that. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. That's about all. Peace out.